Hello everyone, it's Myung-Jan. Today I am going to read at 6:60:57, chapter 5. Arnold scrunched down as far as he could in his seat. "I'm not ready for this," he said, "not by a long shot." I couldn't blame him. I was pretty nervous myself. "Did you say charge up, Miss Frizzle?" I asked. "Sure, DA. After all, lightning is electricity, isn't it, Miss Frizzle?" "You said it," the freeze told her. "When ice crystals and water droplets bump against one another in thunderclouds, a kind of energy called static electricity builds up." Where? Charlie asked. He turned his head in a million different directions. "You can always see static electricity." DA handed him her notebook. "But you can read about it in my notes," she said. Charlie started reading right away. I guess he didn't realize Miss Frizzle's way of teaching goes a lot further than just getting information from books. I had started to like Charlie, and I felt sorry for him. He wanted to be a weather forecaster so badly, but he really didn't know much about weather. "Let's find some static electricity in action, shall we?" She opened the bus door. Next thing I knew, the wind moving inside the cloud sucked us all right out of the bus. All of a sudden, our clothes were covered by protective suits. They were kind of like the suits firefighters wear, with padding, goggles, and helmet. Not that I was complaining. The way we were blowing around inside the cloud, we really needed protection. "We're getting smaller again," DA said, holding on tight to her book about weather. "A lot smaller." "Perfect. Shrinking down to electron size is the key to learning about static electricity." I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but I did know one thing. Being microscopic sure made the world look different. I didn't see water droplets and ice crystals anymore. Instead, we were surrounded by, to tell you the truth, I didn't know what to call the things I saw. "Class, these are the atoms that make up the ice crystal we are in," Miss Frizzle explained. "Wow. Those atoms were amazing. They were like balls of protons and neutrons with electrons zipping all around them. I couldn't take my eyes off them. Then I saw a knot of protons and neutrons floating in the air on its own. Charlie noticed it too. Stared at the protons and neutrons, frowning. Then he looked in DA's notebook. "What makes an atom?" "Atoms are made of smaller particles called protons, neutrons, and electrons. Electrons contain a negative electric charge. Protons contain a positive electric charge. Neutrons don't have any charge. The protons and neutrons go together to make the nucleus." "But why doesn't that atom have any electrons here?" Before Miss Frizzle could answer, something really weird happened. We started orbiting around the protons and neutrons. "Wow," Tim said as we zipped around and around the center of the atom. "Does this mean we are the electrons?" Wanda finished. "Right you are. Usually an atom contains an equal number of protons and electrons." DA nodded. "According to my research, positive charge of protons balances out the negative charges of electrons so that the whole atom doesn't have any electric charge." "So true, but sometimes atoms bump into one another, like the atoms of water droplets and ice crystals that keep crashing together inside a cumulonimbus cloud," Ralphie said. The freeze grinned from ear to ear. "You get the picture, Ralphie? When atoms collide, electrons from one atom can rub off onto another atom with electric results." We didn't have to wait long to see for ourselves what she was talking about. Yikes. Incoming atom. Atoms zoomed toward us from all directions. wham, an atom hit us. It was part of the hailstone. It zoomed off again in a flash, taking Wanda, Tim, and Ralph with it. Oh no, I shouted, watching my friends orbit around with the electrons of the other atoms. Don't look down, here comes some more, Arnold said. Wham, bang. 2 more atoms smashed into us. They were part of a large raindrop. Electrons were everywhere. The 2 atoms bounced away fast. This time I felt myself being pulled along with one of them. D.A., Phoebe, and Arnold came right along with me. Here we go, D.A. said. Looking back, I saw that Carlos and Miss Frizzle had rubbed off onto the second atom. I should get a charge out of being in a thundercloud, yelled Carlos. We all groaned. Carlos, this was bad, very bad. The kids from our class were on 3 different atoms. Swirling winds made atoms fly all around inside the cloud. We were lucky that the 3 atoms with us on them stayed together. They began to sink down in the cloud. Hey, Charlie's cry rang out from above us. What about me? Oops, none of us had noticed that Charlie had been left behind on our old atoms. He orbited around the protons and neutrons at the atom's center. But while our atoms were moving downward, his was moving up. D.A. clutched her weather book and stared at Charlie. It's got my notebook, she said, and he's moving farther and farther up. Poor Charlie, now that he wasn't with Miss Frizzle anymore, how was he going to learn about weather? Why isn't Charlie's atom moving down with the rest of us? Tim asked. Looking up, I saw that Charlie's atom didn't have nearly as many electrons as it had before the other atoms rammed into it. I get it. Charlie's atom has more protons than electrons, so it's positively charged, right? You said it. His atom is moving to the top of the thundercloud with all the other positively charged atoms. I looked at the 3 atoms around which the rest of us orbited. So our atoms, which have more electrons, are moving down to the bottom of the cloud, which means we have a negative charge of static electricity. I guess when it comes to static electricity, being negative can really bring you down. Carlos, we all groaned again. Carlos is the king of bad jokes. But he was right about one thing. Our negatively charged atoms went down, down, down. Before long, we reached the bottom of the cloud. It was really crowded down there. More negatively charged atoms collected around us. Electrons jostled together, and we were right in the thick of it. The feeling was, well, it felt electric. Ralphie looked around in amazement. So this is what happens when static electricity builds up, he said. By now, we had totally lost sight of Charlie. It was hard to even tell which way was up with all those negatively charged atoms around us. How were we ever going to find Charlie again? I didn't have much time to worry about that, though. I gulped as I felt the kind of pressure tugging at me from below. What is going on? That's a megawatt question, Keisha. Absolutely, and we're about to learn the answer. Chapter 6. The next thing I knew, electrons all around us shot down from the bottom of the cloud, and we were pulled right along with them. We zoomed toward the earth in a tube-like channel. But oh bad, bad. My heart leaped into my throat as we sped along. Miss Frizzle, what is happening? Electricity is what's happening, Miss Frizzle announced. When the charge at the base of the cloud becomes strong enough, electricity energy is released. You mean we are electric energy? Arnold asked, as we washed down from the cloud with the other electron. You bet, the Frizz answered. We are an electric current. Is that what flows through the wires in your house? Asked Tim. Yes, but this current is stronger, a lot stronger. But now that we know we are a current, where are we going? Phoebe wanted to know. I think I can answer that. She held up a weather ball. It says in here that the negative electric charges at the bottom of the cloud are attracted to positive charges in the ground below. Opposite electric charges attract each other. Lightning moves in step. Stream of electron released from the bottom of a cumulonimbus cloud moves toward the ground in a series of strokes. The stream is called a stepped leader. Each stroke lasts for just a fraction of a second, and it takes about 4 strokes for a stepped leader to reach the ground. That's fast. So if what DA said was true, we were whizzing at lightning speed toward the ground. I've heard of kids being grounded, said Carla, but this is ridiculous. Why did we have to turn into electron? Arnold asked, groaning. Let me tell you, we weren't just moving. We went like a streak, zip, zoom, zing. We zigzagged down toward the earth in strokes that followed each other so quickly. I couldn't keep track of them. Every zig and zag took us farther away from Charlie Nimbus. I see the ground, Tim announced. Somehow, I made myself look down. Sure enough, the leafy tops of trees were there below us. Thanks to my special goggles, I saw something else too. A stream of positive electric charges that jumped toward us from the highest treetop. How marvelous, said the freeze. The streamer is coming up to meet us, right on schedule. Marvelous is not exactly the word I would use, said Arnold. More like terrifying. The streamer just seemed eager to get to us. It jumped straight toward us from the top of that tree, and then we got contact, cried Miss Frizzle. At the moment, the stepped leader and the streamer met. I shut my eyes. This was too much, way too much. Uh-oh. I heard Carlos say, get ready for an electrifying ride. Bolt of lightning. The end.